We are up to number 3, Arichas Sfasayim. You need to verbalize Divrei Torah. So what does Arichas Sfasayim mean? Rashi, we don't really know whether it's Rashi, but one of the Rishonim, it is a commentary that is attributed to Rashi, Miyuchas LeRashi. But it definitely is one of the fundamental commentaries, one of the important pirushim on Perek Vav of Mesechet Avos. So Rashi writes, Arichas Sfasayim, she'enoi megamgem bedivrei Torah, elo choitchon beloshon, umoitzion befeh. De'ein divrei Torah miskaimin, ela b'mitzuas hapeh. Dichsev, Rashi quotes a posuk, ki chayim hem lemoitzoeihem, al tikre lemoitzoeihem, ela lemoitzieihem befeh. Rashi doesn't quote the source, but the source is a Gemara in Erev in Daf Nun Daled. And the Gemara talks about Bruria. Bruria is famous as being one of the greatest women scholars in our history. So Bruria was the daughter of one of the great Tanoim, Reb Chanina ben Teradion, and she was the wife of Reb Meir. In Erev in Daf Yud Gimel, Reb Meir, the Gemara says that Reb Meir was the greatest sage of his generation. It was a generation of giants. Reb Yehuda bar Eloi, Reb Shimon bar Yochai, Reb Yossi ben Chalafta. Those were the great disciples of Reb Akiva. And the Gemara says Reb Meir was number one. Is that because he had such a great wife? Who knows? Maybe yes, maybe no. But the Gemara does say that Bruria was a great, wise scholar. And the Gemara says once she came into the Beis Medrash and she saw Talmidei Chachomim, Talmidei HaYeshiva that are learning Belachash. They do not verbalize and vocalize what they're learning. And she taught them, Chayim hem lemoitzoeihem, lemoitzieihem befeh. When you learn Torah, it needs to be audible. You need to verbalize what you learn. Is that because it is a fundamental yesod in mitzvahs Talmud Torah that you're not mekayim the mitzvah unless you use your mouth, your mind, and your thoughts are not enough? No. It is a zgula. It is a zgula to be matzliach in Torah, to remember what you learn. And that is why it is in the Memches Devorim Sha'Torah Nikneis Behem. Arichas Sfasayim. Rashi quotes the Mamar Chazal without quoting the source, but it's an Erevin Daf Nun Daled. Regarding the question, is one Mekayim the mitzvah of Talmud Torah without using his mouth, without using his vocal cords, without verbalizing Divrei Torah? Is one Mekayim the mitzvah of Talmud Torah just with using his mind? I think so. Some Achronim maintain it's a machlokes between the Shulchan Aruch and the Gra and the Vilna Gaon, because in Siman Mem Zayin Siv Daled, Shulchan Aruch says that if you don't verbalize Divrei Torah, you don't need to say Birchas HaTorah. The Gaon argues, Bo Gisa B'Yom V'Laylo. You're Mekayim the mitzvah of Talmud Torah merely about thinking Torah. So why don't you need to say a bracha? So some Achronim feel that that is the machlokes between the Shulchan Aruch and the Gra. In Minchas Osha and Chumash Vayikra, I wrote no. I think everyone would agree that you're Mekayim the mitzvah even by using your heart and your mind. Just analyzing and thinking of Torah, working things out in your mind, is sufficient to be Mekayim the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. So I don't want to go into a halachic discussion right now. It is not the essence of these short shiurim and short thoughts on Memches Vorim Sha'Torah Nikneis Behem. But it is evident and obvious to me that even though you're Mekayim the mitzvah of Talmud Torah without verbalizing Divrei Torah, it is a zgula. As Bruria Eishes Remeya taught us in Erev Nun Daled, and that's Perush Rashi on this Mishnah. But it goes beyond that. And in additional level, what does Arichas Sfasayim mean? In the yeshivish world, it's famous in the name of the great Reb Chaim Brisker. And Reb Chaim was one of the greatest, not only teachers of Torah to his generation, but teachers of Torah to all the generations to come. And Reb Chaim used to say, a lack in Hasbara reflects a lack in Havana. If you can't say it, obviously you don't really understand it thoroughly. Because if you understand the Svara thoroughly, you need to be able to explain it. And Reb Chaim taught us Talmidim, if you can't say it, that means you don't have it right. I think that's in Rashi, in Kiddushin Daf Lamed, Amud Aleph, when the Gemara says, what does the Pasuk mean? V'shinantom levonecho, shiyu divrei Torah mechudodin beficho. Chazar elein, ubdoik ba'oimkon, shim yesholcho odom lo titztarach legamgem, ela shituchal lomar miyad. Shiyu divrei Torah mechudodin beficho. I think the emphasis of Chazal is in your mouth, not only in your mind. And what is the test? If a person will ask you, you should be able to explain immediately. And if you can't explain, it means you don't really understand thoroughly. The greatest disciple of the Vilna Gaon is Reb Chaim Mevolozhin. And in Ruach Chaim, Reb Chaim Sefer Masechet Avos, the way he displays Arichas Sfasayim is precisely what I just conveyed. So Reb Chaim Volozhin quotes a pasuk in Mishlei Ted Zayin, Lev Chacham Yaskel Pihu Va'alas Fatav Yosif Lekach. So the pasuk says, Lev Chacham Yaskel Pihu. The heart of the wise will define their mouth, or what they say, what they explain. So this is the interaction between Binas Alev, which is number 4, and Arichas Sfasayim. If you really understand what you're learning, you should be able to explain. So I want to quote Reb Chaim Mevolozhin. Va'omar leiv chochem yaskel pihu, haleiv machkim es hasfosayim ma sheyomru. So the heart and the mind teach your lips what and how they should say. Ve'im kein toimar, ein tzorach lahoitzi b'sfosav, lezei omar, va'al sfosav Yosef lekach. Ki b'ma sheshoga b'rayunav, yargish b'vo lahoitzi b'sfosav. If he has a deficiency in understanding, he might not even be aware of it until he tries to explain. Ki hapeh margish hapegimo. It is only your mouth which will make you aware of your lack of understanding. Ubehoitzioi befiv yargish makom hashgiya. Umekol makom ha'ikar hi avonas alev. But it is your mouth that will ultimately reflect what you understand and what you don't understand. And that is the importance of Arichas Sfasayim. Have a beautiful Chol Hamoed, and I hope to speak to you.